What's going on, guys? Killer6 back with my new Amara build for Mayhem 11 level 65 with all the DLCs out so far. Man, this build's fun. You can do gun damage, you can do melee damage, you can do damage with your giant ball. So I'm calling this thing the Ball Buster Amara because you will be punching some balls when you're playing on this Amara. You will be punching some balls. There you go. Here's the first ball punch of this video. And what we can do is we can pull it back and just kill everything in sight. So what this build does is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but you can do cool things like you saw in the intro where I just pull the ball over and let it kill things for me. We can shoot people once in the face with a face puncher and watch them explode and die. It's pretty great. Now, warning, there'll be some flashing lights in this video most likely because, you know, they said that they nerfed the whole white elephant face puncher thing. Yeah, it's still pretty strong. So it's still pretty strong, but it can also be very bright, flashy for you guys too. So just be aware of that before we get too deep in this video. So this build has extremely high survivability, extremely high damage, can do a little bit of everything. Obviously, as you saw from the intro, we can handle the bosses with ease. You do want to get the hang of using the ball if you want to use this build exactly the way that I'm doing it. You can also do other things with this build. You can do face slam if you'd prefer. You could do you know, phase cast if you want, but where it's really going to shine is going to be with the ball. So real quick, let's go over the skill tree. So with the green tree, originally what I had done with my old Amara ball busting build was that I had gone all the way to the capstone and taken blitz, and I'd taken jab cross. I don't really feel like I need those. I feel like we're doing exceptional damage with melee without these things, and that's mostly thanks to the purple tree. So instead, I've just gone with clarity, arms deal for the splash damage, and the splash damage reduction on you as well. And then we took find your center, which gives us that extra melee damage, melee range, and honestly, you don't even need this. If you want to take this point and put it somewhere else, you're probably fine doing that too. But I do like having arms deal from this tree. And I also like being able to take revelation. I find that revelation does some pretty serious stuff. That said, if you're having trouble keeping your action skill up, you can swap to expedite. We'll actually do that here for a minute to show you how that works. With the purple tree, we went no mistakes in nature, heavy rain, ebb and flow, unweave the rainbow, combo breaker, joyful freedom, body and mind, Atman, and clear the mind. Now with clear the mind, you do need to get a kill in order for this thing to work. Once you kill something, everything, basically everything, just cannot ignore any elemental damage you do. So like, for example, we got the Kraken coming up. If I was to set my thing to shock, which we're actually on shock right now, actually I tell you what, let's switch it to fire. Let's switch it to fire and make this interesting. All right, so I'm gonna switch it to fire, and you know that the Kraken, he's armored, so fire versus armor doesn't work typically, but we're gonna show you how this thing works. Here's the Fist of the Elements tree. I've gone down and taken 3 points of sustainment. We would be fine with 2 points. We'd actually probably be fine with just a single point there, but I had points to spare and didn't really have anywhere else I could put it, or anywhere else that I wanted to put it really. You could put some points in Catharsis and Conflux if you want to. Also, Deep Well isn't extremely necessary, but I like to have that little bit of extra mag size, so that's what I went with that. Green tree, purple tree, nothing in blue tree, but we are getting some bonuses from the class mod that we have on currently, which is the Death's Blessing. This is the new one from DLC 6. You don't need this. Typically, I will rock either the Kinsei or the Muse. Now, my Muse is busted as hell. This was before they capped off the amount of points you could put into Illuminated Fist. Originally, you should only be able to put 1 point in this skill with the class mod, but originally when these class mods were dropping, they could drop with up to +3 for that skill, which gives you how much melee damage is that? 300% melee damage. And again, it's not necessary. As a matter of fact, let's take on the Kraken without a class mod on. All right, so without a class mod on, let's see how this goes. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a kill. Now I'm going to send out my ball and punch it into Kraken, and he's dead. That's how strong this is. It doesn't matter what class mod you have on. You don't even have to have a class mod on. I got my Shockston White Elephant, didn't even shoot Kraken with that. I switched it to fire, didn't matter, because again, capstone on the purple tree means you can ignore the resistance type, and it just does massive amounts of damage. So class mod, super duper not essential, whatever you want to put on there, but I like to use the Muse. That way, if I do want to use my White Elephant face puncher combo, I do extra damage with that. That said, I have used the Kinsei a lot with this. Kinsei you get from doing arms race. If you want to do that, you can. You can use literally anything. Whatever class mod you got from Amara, it's going to do work with this build. So that's how cool this is. Now, in terms of the gear that you need, everything with this build is super simple to get, except for the fish slap, because right now the Cartels event is out of season, but you don't need the fish slap either. Honestly, I would say take any grenade that gives you on grenade throw, weapon, grenade, and action skill damage are increased by 25% for 6 seconds. You might have even noticed, I didn't even throw a grenade before we did that to the Kraken. So grenades not that crucial either. I do love the Mervtacular Hex. This thing's just always fun. But the Piss Grenade, if you go farm Sloth and Thunk in Conrad's Hold and get yourself a Piss Grenade, that is exceptional. Also, the Hunter Seeker is always good. I just don't have a really good one on here just yet. In terms of the artifacts, this is the only part of the build that's tricky, is the artifacts. Because in terms of the weapons, I use a Face Puncher. And I like to use almost exclusively use the 300/90 Face Puncher. That's going to allow you to one-tap most mob enemies. And even if it doesn't one-tap them, it takes them down so far in health that your extra 2 shots doesn't even matter if you are getting the benefits of an anointment at that point. I do have a 390 Psycho Stabber, and I almost never use it. That's how good this build is. I almost never switch to it. This build also gives you actual good gun damage on Amara. It's not all about the melee. It's not all about the Face Puncher. You can use guns on this build. So I've got some light shows on here. I've got the Complex Root. I just got this Globetrotter while farming earlier. Also, I got this Hellshock just while going through the Guardian Takedown, so it's on here. But the Free Radical is also included. This gun is new from DLC 6. It's very good. Got some rocket pods that I got while farming, including I managed to get a 390 to drop from the Seer, so that thing's pretty damn dope, and it's a ×2 as well, so 390 with a ×2, very good. The Ember's Purge is great for enemies that keep their feet on the ground. You shoot them with that, they get a huge puddle of damage underneath them, they can't resist it. Zeetsev's Eruption, I covered this on one of my other builds. Basically, you shoot this thing until it is empty, and it shoots out, see those beams that went out and like try to track down a guy? If those beams hit somebody, here we go, we'll get this one. There we go. See, that hit that guy. So now he takes more damage. So it basically debuffs enemies, which is good for bosses, but not at all necessary for this build, but still it's included if you want to play around with it. We've also got the Flipper on here. Flipper's always just a good option to have in your inventory. There's a Tig Boom just because I happen to get it while farming for this video. So really, the only gear that you really need is one singular Face Puncher. You can literally do away with every other gun in this build and just rock one Face Puncher, and if you do, roll it to be a 300/90. Now, additionally, I will say you can use the Face Puncher that gives you 14 × 14, so basically it's a double Face Puncher, double projectile per shot. You will go through your ammo quicker, so, and you don't need it, so I would say use the ×7 version on this build. Like I said, you don't need any other guns at all, but I've included some with this build. One of the cool things that came from DLC, one of the coolest things in my opinion that came from DLC 6 is the Revolter. I absolutely love this shield. I absolutely love this thing. This gives Amara even more gun damage. You combine that with her new class mod that gives her gun damage. Like, you can get a lot of gun damage between that and the new class mod for mobbing. I will say that I generally won't use this for bosses just because you don't need to, but you know, it's there if you want it. I still haven't gotten one with a really good roll for melee, so unfortunately that's something I need to work on. I need to go farm the Seer a little bit more. I've also got I also got some class mods for other characters while doing the farming for this video as well. In terms of the other shields, I've got a Brawler Ward on here. If you want to do that, it's not necessary at all. I very much would say just leave the Revolter on all the time. There is a Frozen Snowshoe on here in case you want to put this thing on, and then whenever you pop your action skill, everything near you freezes. Also got the action skill Start Stinger on here, so if you want to pop your action skill, that'll do a lot of damage to enemies near you as well. Again, class mods not super crucial which one you use. Again, I would say the Muse, the Kinsei, and the Death's Blessing are all great. Probably the one you want to avoid, actually, for once, is the Phase Zerker. You don't need this. You don't need the rush stacks. You don't need all that, all the perks from this thing. So, all right, so the artifacts. This is where it's complicated. This is the only hard part of gathering equipment for this build, in my opinion, because everything else that I've named up to this point is pretty damn simple. The main thing that I use use on this build are white elephants, and I like to have them as the various stones. So as you can see, the one that I've got equipped is the shock stone white elephant. Then we've also got a cut purse white elephant in case we ever need to steal ammo for whatever reason. We also have a, where's it at? Cryo stone white elephant if you want to do cryo damage, corrosive stone white elephant, and radiation stone safeguard, firestone white elephant, and then I have another cut purse white elephant. I've also got a Hyperion company man on here. You can absolutely use this to do damage with your face puncher if you want, but I find that as long as you're matching the element that you want with this thing, then it's really strong with the white elephants. So for example, if you're going up against Wotan, you probably want to switch this over to the corrosive stone white elephant for the armor phases. Same thing with the Seer. Even though he has 2 shock bars, those shock bars are a lot weaker than his armor bar, so I would say use the corrosive stone white elephants there. Otherwise, you know, swap them out as you need to. And you also want to match that up with the element you're using on Amara. So if you want to do cryo, switch to cryo on here. If you want to do shock, there's no option in the blue tree to do shock, so what you have to do is manage loadout and go over here and unequip your element, and that switches it to shock, in case you guys didn't know about that. If you're doing fire, obviously just switch it to fire, and if you're doing corrosive, switch it to corrosive. So that's all there is to that. In terms of how to use and how to play this build, it's really simple. You point your gun at things, you shoot them in the face, they explode. When you're fighting bosses, you want to, I tell you what, let's drop down here and I'll show you exactly how I handle the situations with the ball. What you do is you want to hit this ball 3 times. You can do just 2 times and that'll be just fine, but if you hit it 3 times, that's maximum damage. So there's once, pull it back, hit it again, and as you see, that instantly takes them all out of the fight. You hit it a 3rd time and boom, now it's doing maximum damage. If people run into it, they die. If this guy comes down, he's dead. Boom, that's all there is to it. And then what you want to do is you want to pull the ball. The rest of the time, you want to pull the ball to wherever enemies are at. You can also shoot enemies to make sure that you keep your health up because we got sustainment. All right, so then we're going to pull the ball over to this guy. Boom, he's out. That's all there is to it, man. It's so freaking simple. This build is so strong, so simple, and the only way you're going to die is during reloads. While you're reloading, that's the only time where you should be susceptible to death. Just so you know, the rest of the time you're going to be golden. So we're going to pop this. We're going to pull it back, and then I'm going to punch it down to him. Boom, and he's out. That's all there is to him, man. This is such an easy build. It's so simple. The gear is, again, not hard to farm. The main trick you're going to have is getting your ball to go where you want it to sometimes. Sometimes your ball will get stuck on things. When that happens, it's best to abandon the ball and focus on doing damage with your white elephant face puncher, and then wait for your ball to come back, and then you can do damage with that again. Now, again, even though I don't have my ball out, look at the damage we're doing with the white elephant and face puncher combo, dude. That's how good this build is, man. You don't need your action skill up to do damage. You're going to wreck face regardless. Pretty damn fun build. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon for more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a great day.